Hi you guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I've missed you guys. Like, this video is a long time coming. I should have put it out since. I'm sorry. Anyway, again, I'll work on it. Okay, today is going to be all about booking your flights. So how do you do that? What do you do? I'm going to divide it into several stages so I can talk over each of them. First thing first, you can book your flight yourself or you can use an agent. So if you want to book yourself, it's simple. You could use one of those virtual agents like you have Wakanow, you have Travel Wings, you have travelstats.com, you have skyscanner.net. There are a couple of them, but of course you need to be careful because you need to read everything and be sure you understand what is happening, because if you don't understand what is happening and you make a mistake, it might be very difficult for you to work around it. But it's really not difficult. I did mine myself and that was my first time. So if you're using skyscanner.net, I think they just link you with other virtual agents. So you need to be very careful and be sure that whichever one you're picking, people have used them before so you don't get scammed. But besides that, if you're using like Wakanow, it's straightforward. Just do it on there. If you're using like Travel Wings, and then I think some of them don't collect naira, but I'm sure Wakanow collects naira because I use them. Anyway, you could also use like a regular agent, like in their offices. Their agents on groups. If you're someone that travels frequently, you probably already have like an agent. If you don't, there are many online, even on Telegram they have groups where you can join, and like that is what they do there. So you can try any of them. You can also combine like them, try a couple and see the prices so you can gauge and have the best price for yourself. But whichever option you choose, just make sure you know what you're doing. The advantage of choosing an agent is that if you run into any issues, because they are the ones that have the direct deal with the company, they can help you sort it out. Because you can also apply by yourself on the sites. Like, yes, say I want to travel with Egypt's Air now, I can just go straight to their sites and run everything on my own. But if I go and do mistake, I'm definitely on my own because I have to bear responsibilities for my action. Now that is about how you can. Then what are the airlines? I mean, this is for UK. You're coming to the UK now. What are the airlines you can follow? See, there are a lot of them. But things you want to take note of right now are some of them require transit visa and some do not. Now, my advice is not to get one that requires a transit visa, because if you're going to need a transit visa, it's like you apply for a whole other visa after you get your UK visa. You now apply to that country. Some of them can have a list of things they want from you. Some can say they want you to show that you have money for 3 months. Some can say that they want you to pay for this, pay for that. Why bother yourself when you can take one of the ones that doesn't require a transit visa? Now, what are the ones that require transit visa? See, once you see Air France, you see KLM, you see Lufthansa, just leave them. And sometimes they have like cheap prices, but please just ignore because they require transit visa. I remember there was somebody, he wanted to, his flight was like on a Monday. He and I were now discussing on a Friday night. And his uncle kept on insisting that, no, don't worry, you don't need it, you don't need it. I know people that have done this. I know. You don't know what kind of visa everybody has. If it is just ordinary UK study visa you have, my dear, you will need transit visa. So please, in fact, I was even praying for him. I was hoping that maybe they will change the rules and that his uncle is right, because his uncle kept on saying, them take a letter with you, do this, do that, don't worry, they will not stop you. Ladies and gentlemen, he got there on Monday and they told him he could not fly. He had to now buy a whole new ticket on that Monday because apparently he could not go back home. Do you know how much it would cost you to buy in peak period? I'm talking September-ish, and you are buying like tickets on that day. He spent millions of naira. So please, just avoid them. But if you have enough time and you think you can, or if you have another visa, say you have a US visa, you have a Canadian visa, oh, you're safe. You don't need to worry yourself about getting a transit visa. So generally, any flights that would stop in an European country would require you to have a transit visa. There is only one exception, and even that exception still has its peculiarities. That exception is Turkish Airlines. Turkish Airlines is the only airline you can follow that will stop in an European country and does not need you to have a transit visa. But this is only if they are stopping in Istanbul. If they stop in any other airport inside that same Turkey, apart from the one in Istanbul, my dear, apart from that Istanbul airport, hold your transit visa. So please, if you are doing anything, just open your eyes very well. Even if you're following one of the African airlines that don't usually require transit visa, if you are doing 2 stops, that means you will not transit in one country alone. Say I'm following Egypt's Air now. We'll first stop in Cairo. Then from Cairo, they'll take us to maybe Belarus or anywhere else, or France or something. You will need transit visa. Transit visa is not just about, oh, but I'm not leaving the airport. It is not the problem. If you like, don't even come down from the plane. As long as you are there in their space and you are laying, like you're transiting there, like it is a layover or something. I think the only condition where they do not need a transit visa if you are just stopping to refuel, if the aircraft is just landing there only to refuel and like nobody at all is coming down, like then they might. But you, of course, please check that with whatever agent you are using, or before you book. And even Wakanow, they have numbers there. All those sites, they have numbers. Call and ask very well. So that is it. So the ones that don't require transit visa are your usual, British Airways. In fact, British Airways is sweet because it's just direct, so you don't even need to stress yourself. You have Egypt Air. As long as it's transiting in just Cairo or just in African countries, you are good to go. Ethiopian Air, the same thing. And the great thing about Egypt Air and Ethiopian Air is that if your layover is over a certain number of hours, I think about 8 for economy, they would lodge you and feed you. Yes, Ethiopian is confirmed. So I know like a few people that use them and they confirmed that as long as it's over a certain number of hours, please check. I'm sure Egypt Air Zone is over 8 hours. I don't know what Ethiopian own is, but you want to confirm, maybe about 12 or something. You would be lodged and you would be fed. Qatar Airways is another very wonderful airline. Like Qatar Airways is even very sweet because they have, like, I think one of the most beautiful airports in the world, if not the most beautiful. So at least you get to see, beauty. Even more, they do this students travel, whatever. Like if you are below 31 and you're traveling with them and you're a student, they will give you extra luggage. See, there's some confusion about that extra luggage because I've seen people that said it was extra 10 kg they gave them. I've seen people that got extra 23 kg. Coco is sure you are going to get extra luggage for free. You don't have to pay for it. The usual stuff most airlines do is 2 times 23 and then a carry-on of 7 or 8 kg, 7 or 8 kg to 10 kg. That is like the usual average and usual standard. But this Qatar one, they will not give you extra. So whether it is extra 23 kg you get or extra 10 kg you get, that is still something dope because you can use it to, pack extra stuff and for free. Nobody wants to pay for extra luggage. The money is no small thing. I mean, you're going to be paying about 60k or more safe. You don't want to do that. So this is an opportunity for you to, travel and travel nicely. So these are basically the airlines you could go with. And okay, there are others, sure. There's Kenya Airways, there's Rwandan Airways, there's Air Maroc. I'm not exactly sure whatever pros or whatever advantages they have, but people who have used them, you will get to where you're going safely and everything. See, I would just like to put it out here that no matter the airline you want to mention, there's somebody that has had a bad experience with them. So if your only reason for not going with an airline is because people are having bad experiences with them, then you might not have any airline to go with. I'm not saying you should not choose. Please choose. If there's an airline you've heard so many or too many bad reports about, then maybe you should not go with them. But if you're looking for like a perfect airline, you might not find. Okay, so that is all about the airlines you can go with and that. So how do you get great prices? The simple and honest truth is that the best way to get great prices is to book ahead of time. I booked over a month, like a month and 2 weeks to my actual flight date. If you do that, definitely you would find great prices. Like I booked my flight for September 17th and I saw I paid a total of 247,000 or something. If I had waited till 19th, I would have paid 205,000. But I did not want to wait till 19th, so I just decided to choose the 17th like that. That was because I booked early August. There were people under my group, on the group I'm on, that booked since even June, July. Depending on when you are ready and when you're doing your visa, this thing, you can book as far ahead as well. You don't need your visa to actually book, so you can afford to book ahead. But now, of course, I understand people might be scared. What if I don't get the visa? What if I don't? My advice is, as soon as you've gotten your cars and you're already applying for your visa, you can afford to book your flights then. The rate of student visa, at least for now, is still like 96%. That means if all things go well, you are guaranteed a study visa if you've done everything you're supposed to do correctly and everything. You've done it well. You did not lie. You're not forging documents. You're not doing anything. You're doing everything the way it should be. You are almost guaranteed a study visa. So if you want to take that risk, you can act like me. I took that risk. Like, my visa was nowhere decided when I booked mine. You can take that risk. But say you don't want to take that risk, and at the same time you don't want to spend a lot of money, then you can take advantage of Wakanow's Pay Small Small package. This is not a paid ad. I wish it was, because I mean the money is good. Will be good. But I just said, you know, for the sake of passing information, you can take advantage of that. How does Wakanow Pay Small Small work? First of all, I'm going to drop a link so you can read all about it, because I didn't use it, though I know someone that used it, maybe even more than one, but at least I'm certain I know one person that used it, and he's in my class. So if you want, you can use it, you can read about it and do. How does it work? Basically, when you choose a flight, say now you choose a flight, the flight price is 200,000 naira. Your visa is not out, you're not sure what will happen, but this looks like a really great price, and you don't want to have to pay up to, you know, 500k or 1 million or whatever people are paying. Because trust me, the closer it gets to resumption, especially that September period and sometimes in January too, peak period of study resumption, prices go up. So you don't want to pay a lot of money. Then you can just decide, let me book this down. Normal, you are only supposed to book a ticket with your complete money. But Wakanow Pay Small Small allows you to book with 25% of the money. That means right there on the page, as you want to book, you will see 50,000 naira for you to pay now. Then they will spread out that remaining 150,000 naira. It can be anywhere from a day to 2 months. So if you want to do that, you can. The money will not increase, except you don't will not increase. It will only increase if you don't pay when you're supposed to pay. Say for example, now you pay that 50k, and then you tell them, oh, I'm going to pay 50k at the end of 1 month and the remaining 100k at a day before my flights. Then you now go on that day, you don't now pay the 50k when you're supposed to pay. There will be like a small charge on it. The charge can vary. I don't know how they determine the charge. It can vary, but still, all in all, I saw in a group, someone said all the extra she paid in total was like 10k or 15k. So it's not as if it's a lot of money. So that is one way to, you know, book down without putting in all the money. That way, let's say the worst happens and you don't get your visa, you've only lost 50k. Say you get your visa, you end up paying 200k when other people will be struggling. For instance, my flights, I already said I paid like 247k. That same flights, some people were mentioning how they paid up to 800,000 naira because they booked very late. You don't want that to be you, so you can take advantage of that. And if you know your mind did not carry it, that is perfectly fine. When your visa is out, you book. Maybe worst case scenario, you go as late as you can. Say your visa comes out August 20, your resumption is maybe September 10, but your school has said you can come up to September 30. You can decide, let me go September 25th. That way you get a reduced price. But if you don't want to do that, 2 ways: either pay all the money on time early enough, or you use the Pay Small Small option. If you have a private agent, a personal agent, they might be able to run this for you too. But I know Wakanow's online is tested and trusted. I do not know about private agents or this thing. Like I said, I'll drop a link in the description box so you can check it out. And then if you want to book on the sites by yourself straight up, some only accept dollars, some accept naira, whatever works for you. But basically, if you want to book and you want cheap flights, please try to book on time. That is like the best way to get the best price. Try to book on time. Until next time, guys. See ya.